we're off. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 28th meeting of the Basalt Town Council. So our town clerk will call the roll and we'll get our meeting rolling.
Okay, let's begin with Ryan Slack. Oh, the one guy who's not here. Bill Kane.
Here.
Dieter Schindler.
Here.
Angela Anderson.
Here.
Glenn Drummond.
Here.
David Knight.
Here.
Elise Hoddle.
Present.
Thank you. A-team is here.
Okay, thank you for that. First order of business tonight is to review and approve our consent agenda, which consists of two items: minutes of February 14, 2023, and Basalt Affordable Housing Community amended bylaws, put forward by Michelle. So unless anyone in council would like to pull either of those off for further discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move the town council approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all approved. So at this point in the meeting, we have an open call to the public and anyone that would like to address the town council on any item which is not on the agenda. We're more than pleased to hear public comments. You may access the town council meetings at www.basalt.net under agendas and minutes tab. You can click on the February 28, 2023 meeting packet to open on the meeting access instruction page. Click on the link and you'll join the webinar, and then our town clerk will admit you and you can address council virtually. So if anyone would like to do that, looks like, so we'll keep the line open for that possibility. So the next order of business is mayor and council comments. So anyone like to update us on anything going on?
I guess I wanted to say real quick, like, it's pothole season is among us, and it was good. I was happy to see that the town already kind of bounced on some of the bigger ones developing. We know it's going to be a uphill battle for them all, and thanks for the early start.
Yeah. Yeah, there was looks like a new business opened, an axle repair business was opening up in town, so that was pretty good. Anyone else? I did attend our last RAFTA meeting, and you know, sort of business is continuing. We're down somewhere 15-20% eligible drivers, and the training program has been very successful with recruitment. So you know, things are looking up, but trying to get folks out there actually on the road has been it's been quite a struggle this winter, but service is still solid, and so we're moving forward on that front. Well, with that, we have a manager report tonight.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Just one update really is the Lightning Bolt project, of course, is underway. Closing off the access between here and the library, post office, and out to the roundabout. Last night, they did a water line improvement that was needed to create, I believe it was separation between the sewer line and the water line. So the entire ABC or BC building over there was out of water most of the day, but we got them turned back on about 10 o'clock last night. All the folks over there were informed that that was going to be happening. So that should be the only water shutdown that was needed as part of that project. So we should be in good shape. And we did make a course correction after getting started. We had the stoplights that were up so that they could open it at night. We made a decision late last week to keep it closed permanently during construction, except to, of course, the people that live and work in the BC over there. Part of the issue was confusion. There really wasn't an elegant solution with having a stoplight just on the other side of these stop signs that were there. It was just creating a lot of confusion, and we were worried that that was going to lead to an issue with, you know, motorists, somebody getting in an accident or something. So we erred on the side of safety on that one. But otherwise, the project seems to be going well, and they're making progress. So that's where we are with that project.
We have an estimated date of completion for the lightning bolt?
Yeah, I believe it was April 10th? I'm sorry,
It's gonna be a while.
April 10th for that?
Yeah, they should be out of the travel way hopefully by March 10th, so the impacts of traffic will be done hopefully by then, especially if the weather cheers up a little bit, and then the project overall should be done by the end of March.
Oh, end of March. Okay, thanks.
And how is the change in the stoplight communicated? Because some of us may or may not have tried to come over the bridge today and had no idea that the stoplight was no longer in service.
Oh, I don't know. Again, we're not doing all the communication. We're leaving a lot of that communication to the Sand District to do it. They may have put out a public notice on it, and they've now put out their VMS boards on the highway. Yeah, there are VMS boards on the
Yeah, but
highway,
I'm saying like coming from south side or just right here, there's no signage.
Yeah. I don't know if the flaggers are still out there. What time of day did you?
Just now.
Oh, just now. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, well, we can follow up with Sand District again to let them know. But I think it's going to be, with these construction projects like this, it's not perfect. And so I think people have started to get the hang of it. But again, we can follow up with them. And
Yeah, I know that it's not our responsibility to publicize it, but I think it would be good to throw it on social media, to send it out to the Let's Talk email list and any other lists we have, because, yeah, I was pretty frustrated. And I'm sure if I was, then there are other people too.
sure.
Okay, thank you. So, the next order of business is a request from Mountain Pack for a letter to go to the BLM State Director, Doug Vilsack, urging him to take action to protect more lands for wilderness, through wilderness study area designation and prioritizing conservation during rulemaking in 2023. I did have an opportunity to read the letter, thought it was quite appropriate, and but it looks like we should get a show of hands here from council to support the letter going forward.
Yeah, and I can just let the Mountain Pact, Anna, know, and she can add everybody's name. It looks
Okay.
like 2 of you had signed up already, but then they were looking for more, so wanted to bring it to you all, and
Yeah.
you're good with it? I'll
Yeah, all looks
let
good.
her know. Okay.
I'm good with it, but I do have a question. Do we know what the blue highlighted stuff is about? Is that a actual hyperlink to something in the,
I
like a different version?
Yes,
I
possibly.
think it is when you look at it.
Mhm. I believe they are.
I just read it on the computer. I didn't see any color highlighted.
It's just,
If you click on it.
yeah, I'm hoping that's a
I'm sorry, I
hyperlink,
don't have
otherwise
it.
it's oddly inconsistent.
Would,
It shows on the PDF, but it's not, you can't it's not hyperlinked or anything. It could be hyperlinked in the actual letter.
in that, yeah, maybe so.
These are scans, yeah.
Would you like me to?
I mean, I'm for it, I just think
Okay.
stylistically, I'm hoping it's hyperlinked, otherwise it's
Do we
kind of
want to voice vote on this, or are we good? What do you think, Jeff?
For the letter, yeah, just direction and voice vote would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd entertain a motion to support the submission of the letter as drafted.
So moved.
Right?
Second.
Okay, move second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you.
And Dieter, I'll follow up with that and just make
It
the
is.
comment.
It's hyperlinked.
hyperlinked in.
Hyperlinks, okay.
So we move to council actions. Our first item is interview and appointment for prospective BOC members. So I believe Michelle is managing this item, so come on up and welcome.
Yay. So, We have 3 new applications tonight and 1 reappointment. Dave Portman, who is the first person listed on our memo, is coaching his daughter's next basketball tournament right now. So he's not able to be here tonight. He'll come at the next council meeting for his interview. But luckily, we have Jay, Matt, and Ann here. So this is Jay Israel. He's a longtime Basalt resident who's lived in Willits since the first Willits townhomes were built. He is a longtime local with knowledge and interest in the Basalt area and affordable housing needs, having worked in a variety of industries here. He brings real estate market knowledge and a local's perspective to Bach. He recently attended the February 23rd meeting and was recommended for appointment.
Great. Questions? Jay, would you like to say a few words or address council?
Is there anything specific you'd like to hear from me? Otherwise,
No. Are you related to Charles Israel?
that's the number one question I typically get. No.
Okay.
We've had many deep discussions about it. We think that historically, perhaps there's some lineage that perhaps aligns, but nothing that we can connect.
Okay. So you're innocent on that charge?
I wish I was affiliated more closely with him, is
Right.
what I would say. They're a great family.
Understand. Questions, comments of the candidates from council?
I have one.
David?
Can you tell me about the NGO development, business development experience? I was curious what that was.
I've done a lot of different work, both being an employee as well as a volunteer for the NGOs in the Valley. From Challenge Aspen was one of my first jobs when I moved here 25 years ago. I was part of their first intern class, introduced me to the nonprofits of the Valley. Subsequently, I worked for Theater Aspen, Aspen Film, a number of them, again, either as an employee or just volunteering my time as a way to give back to the community. And I've just realized that I have an ability and a sense of market. And so as I'm able to sell real estate, I enjoy also being able to sell the NGOs to their funders, essentially.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you for the question.
Questions, comments, guys?
Thanks for volunteering.
It's a pleasure. I look forward to, giving back what I can. It's been a great 25 years. I've seen a lot of good folks come and go over the years. And hopefully, with this committee, we can be a little bit of a stopgap and prevent all of those that are going from having to go. It should be more of a want, not our life can't, be sustainable here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do to help with that conversation.
Are there any specific goals you have?
No specific goals that I set out, quite honestly. Something like this, I find it better to come in blank slate and learn as much as I can, and then see how my knowledge sort of coalesces with that in an effort to give back.
Thank you.
All right.
Michelle,
Sounds
how
like
many
finished.
spaces do these new nominees fill of the board?
Yeah, so right now we have 2 active members. The board is 7 positions. We have 2 active members, 1 absent member, and 4 open seats.
And we're
So-
bringing in 3 people or 2 people?
We're bringing in, tonight we're bringing in 2, and we're reappointing Ann to one of the existing seats that's full. Dave will be position number 3, and then we have, 5, position number 5. And then there's another applicant who'll come to the next meeting as well. Perry, he'll be position number 6, and then there'll be 1 spot open.
Okay.
So do you want to do these one at a time?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can,
Because I notice Ann's here, so we can, yes.
come on up.
Am I excused?
You're excused.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would love to see a renter on the board or on the committee. And I don't know the disposition of people's situations, but
You're
I'm
gonna
just,
have one.
okay.
This is Matt Treebwasser. He
Howdy.
is a 5-year resident of Basalt and a local business owner of 10th Mountain Division Plumbing. He is a young professional who has experience navigating our affordable housing. He brings a business owner and young professional perspective to Bach.
Great.
So we're excited to have him.
So how's you fired up about Bach and what?
Being in the plumbing industry, I've seen all sides of the spectrum, from some of the wealthiest homes that we have in the valley to a lot of the employee housing that we have, mostly in Snowmass, because that's where most of our work is. But I've just seen how the system works, and I know how much of a struggle it is to get into it and find yourself a more stable living, rather than bouncing around from room to room or couch to couch. So it's been interesting to see it from that aspect, but I want to get more involved and try to give a more ideal demographic towards the committee that's on this task.
Oh, good, that's gonna be helpful for sure. Questions?
You say in your application that what interests you in the appointment is to better represent the demographic. What is the demographic?
I'd like to think that most people that are applying for employee housing don't have a house already. They're either struggling to find a place to live, or so far out of the community that they have to commute over an hour. So me being a renter and recently kicked out of the employee housing rental opportunity, I feel like it needs to be readdressed, and there needs to be a tiered system.
I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm happy to have you represent that demographic.
Okay, well, Matt,
Thanks
thank
for
you very
volunteering.
much. Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Mayor, I move the town
Oh, we got
count.
one more.
Oh, we do.
And
Oh, Ann, sorry. She's just not
Last but
on here.
not least.
Oh, Ann reappointed.
evening, Ann, thanks
Good
for
evening.
sticking with this.
It's been
You'd
interesting.
think you would know better, but.
This is Ann Baker. She's a longtime Basalt resident who brings knowledge of the changes and challenges of the Basalt community. She brings the perspective of evolving needs and challenges for young professionals looking to continue residing in their hometown. And Ann has been a consistent and productive member of Bach and has been recommended for reappointment.
And I guess I'll be the older member on Bach. One of the issues that has come up during my tenure on Bach, just briefly, has been the rule, the 30% rule, that rental for a affordable housing would be 30% of the gross income of a resident. And that seems like an awful lot to me, especially for a gross amount. I've checked with some of the HUD guidelines, and they say 30% is okay of net, not of gross. They have certain items, the number of people in a household is one of them, that they would deduct income. Because here in this valley, it is so expensive to live. We have inflation, wages are not keeping up, and we don't want to keep people in poverty. We want to have people the opportunity to live in affordable housing and then perhaps go someplace else. But if they're spending all their money on rent, then there's no opportunity for them.
Yeah.
Plus, I just heard this morning, which I find shocking on the news, that Colorado was #1 in car thefts of the 50 states. And of course, when I get my car insurance bill, I'm shocked too. But I think of the people who are paying a lot for rent and other modes of transportation, of healthcare, things that they didn't have to pay for when this 30% rule was first introduced. So that's kind of my concern, I guess.
Good to hear.
Thanks
Comments,
for
questions?
volunteering as much as you have.
Okay.
You've definitely been on there for a while. Thank you.
Yes, well, I'd like to, what about the 30% rule? You can make deductions, and HUD suggests that. However, I think in Basalt, that would be rather difficult to do, to try to pick and choose what deductions you should give someone. I think a better way to go is just make it 25% instead of 30% of their gross income. Any questions?
Oh, so many, but I would love to have a work session with you, especially with the new folks. I think that would be really, really fun, and
Oh, I think that'd be
it
a
would be
great
nice to
idea.
align.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe look at interaction with our regional housing authority, regional housing efforts that are underway, and, see if, we need some consulting assistance to look at more innovations. So, I'm sure we're gonna be talking to you, especially about our Basalt 2030 and our housing initiatives that we're able to undertake as a result of our bond issue approval, so,
Yes, we have money that
yeah.
the very generous citizens of Basalt have put forward for affordable housing.
Great.
It's very impressive. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
So, we can make motion on all three applicants.
Mayor, I move the
Yeah.
town council appoint Jay Israel and Matt Tribwasser, to the Basalt Affordable Housing, Basalt Affordable Community Housing for a three-year term, each ending February 28th, 2026, and reappoint Ann Baker for a three-year term ending February 28th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Great, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Uh, So next order of business is resolution number 4, series of 2023. It's a resolution of the Town Council of Basalt, Colorado, authorizing the town manager to approve a contract for the construction of the Basalt River Park restroom and bus stop project. So Catherine and Michelle got this. There's Catherine.
Thank you. I think I'm gonna have James pull up that site plan.
Send me a site plan of Midland, but I can pull up the
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Midland.
But, yeah, that's it. James is gonna pull up the recent rendering, that Connect One created for us that includes, both the Midland streetscape improvements as well as the Basalt River Park improvements, so you can see all the projects we have going on and how they connect together. But, tonight, we're here to talk initially about our contract for the Basalt River Park restroom and bus stop. James is pointing to it there with his cursor. Staff has been working on the development of the river park, as you know, over the last 2 years, with the first phase of the project happening in the summer of 2021, and then the second phase was last summer. This final phase of construction is going to include that restroom and bus stop, as well as the band shell that you all are familiar with, that is just south of the restroom and bus stop, as James is pointing to there. Staff has been working with the architects at Z Group on the design of the restroom and bus stop, and we've been bringing you those periodic updates to update you on the design as we move forward. We engaged FCI in a CMGC process early last fall to help us work through a design that's within budget for the town. And tonight we're bringing to you a contract to engage FCI to build the restroom and bus stop this spring. Staff would recommend approving resolution number 4, series of 2023. And I'm happy to field any questions you all have on the restroom and bus stop before we move on to the band shell. And we do have Will Kaiser with FCI here to answer any questions you all may have as well. And I think Will was going to give just a brief update on the schedule for the project.
Okay.
Where it will. Yeah,
Hello, I'm Will Kaiser with FCI Constructors. I've been working on the BRP project for the last 2 years, and we're excited to be nearing completion on all the townhomes and gallery building and all those projects. For schedule-wise, We are navigating through long lead time items right now. We found a couple longer lead items that we've talked to Catherine about, like benches or whatever it so happens to be. And it's overall it's going to dictate the start of the project because we don't want to stop in the middle of the project. So right now we're thinking it will be third or fourth week of March that it starts, with around a 3-month duration. So that puts it into end of June, start of July, right in that time period, depending on the start date. Any questions on it?
I think we got it. Is FCI also the contractor for the band shell?
No, no, we couldn't.
You want to do a band shell? No.
We talked about it, but everyone's
Okay.
busy.
Thank you.
Questions, comments?
Can you remind us what some of the value engineering was that happened in there?
Sure.
Yeah, you can turn a 400 square foot bus stop.
Will
into
really
something.
helped us with a lot of that, but a lot of it came down to the roof design that you may recall. It had more of a,
It was sort of like a butterfly wing design. It was two wings that kind of met each other. I'm sure there's a better word that the designer prefers, but in layman's term, it had this undulating shape, and that framing was really expensive.
Yeah, and now it's more typical shed roof with more typical drainage to it. Yeah, and so that was the major cost item. And then we worked through a few just the product details and finding alternative products with Will's help that would provide a similar product but at a lesser price point.
Do we look at any prefab bathrooms? Is that like even a possibility? I mean, this is I know it's valued engineered, but this is an insane cost for a bathroom.
Stick built.
It's not, like, I don't know, just me, I know costs are expensive, but.
Square footage wise, it's expensive.
Some of the challenges with this building is being a public facility. The finishes have to be a higher grade to withstand any vandalism.
Okay.
And so that was a learning curve for me in looking through what materials could be value engineered out and what needed to be at a certain level. We could go with cheaper materials, but they would then have to be replaced probably annually or every 2 years.
Yeah, it's a little weird to think of a restroom as an iconic building for the town, but it kind of is. I mean, it's going to be the visual introduction to the whole park, and so, you know, when the bus stop's a biggie. So I know we're spending extra bucks on this building, and I have the same reservation, but I think it's actually money well spent.
I believe the bus stop also had some basic
Restrictions.
requirements to it that RAFTA had asked us to include in it, and they are giving us a grant. So the RAFTA is providing $130,000 to the town for this effort, and the developer is providing $150,000.
Okay,
So it's not all coming out of our coffers.
Okay, so our end cost is approximately?
Four or five, yeah, sorry.
500.
Yep.
And you will see in the cost estimate that was included in the packet where we were able to realize some of those savings and bring down the cost by almost $250,000 to be where we are today, so.
All right. Further questions, comments? So I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution number 4 of 2023.
Mayor, I move that the town council adopt resolution number 4, series of 2023.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
And Mr. Mayor, unfortunately, because we have Angela on.
What's that?
Unfortunately, because we have Angela on Zoom, we'll need to do a roll call on.
Oh, okay.
On resolution. and
Oh, right.
ordinance.
Yes, got it.
Okay, let's begin. Angela Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond?
Yes.
Elise Hoddle?
Abstain.
Ryan Slack?
No.
Bill Kane?
Yes.
Dieter Schindler?
Yes.
And David Knight?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item is resolution number 5, series of 2023, resolution of the Town Council of Basalt, Colorado, authorizing the town manager to approve a contract for construction of the Basalt River Bandshell project. Catherine and Michelle.
Yeah. So similar to the Restoran bus stop process, staff has been working with Connect One Design, Brian May Architects, and Burlingame Construction on the design of a bandshell that meets the town's budget for the project. This past fall, we received bids as high as $1.4 million for the originally designed bandshell. And as you may recall from our meeting in January, we worked through some value engineering processes on this one as well. We reduced the footprint by an overall width from 50 feet to 40 feet, and then we're able to redesign some of the steel shell of the bandshell to have a more cost-effective product. Burlingame Construction ultimately provided a bid for $821,220 for the revised bandshell. Staff would again recommend approving resolution number 5, 2023, for the funding of this project. And tonight we have Adam Link and David Mansour with Burlingame Construction in the audience that are here to answer any questions you all may have on the bandshell construction. And for a scheduling update on this one, we are working really closely with the steel fabricator on this project. The steel and fabric roof are one system that are moving forward together in design, and that is expected for delivery in June. So we'll be starting construction on the foundation and other site work in early April, moving towards that delivery date in early June, and then hopefully get the bandshell erected prior to the beginning or around the beginning of July. So that's a scheduling update, and if you all have any questions on the design or pricing, we have representatives here to answer your questions.
Michelle, anything? Any guys, questions? Schedule again, what are we thinking?
April start, early July finish.
Early July?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Was there an image in the packet?
Not in this one, I apologize for that.
I know there was one in the other one, I just wanted a refresher.
I know, I should have refreshed your memory.
You know, I was just following the Aspen's little, music festival they had this weekend, the Palm Tree Festival. It's kind of a small scale kind of deal. Just looked like it might be a nice fit for us to think about programming wise. And I think it was pretty popular. I think there was a pretty good turnout. And it was like 27 or something, and people hung in there. It was pretty good. So.
We did work with Taka on some of the elements of the bandshell to hopefully be prepared for, a whole variety of acts that would be able to come. So.
Yeah.
We have programming for this summer.
We are interviewing event managers right now, so we're working on it.
Pretty cool.
Okay. Comments, questions, motions?
Mayor, I move that town council adopt resolution number 5, series of 2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. This also has to be approved with roll call. According to Jeff.
Yes. Let's begin with Elise Hoddle.
Who should know?
Thank you. Ryan Slack,
Yes.
Bill Kane,
Yes.
Dieter Schindler,
Yes.
David Knight,
Yes.
Angela Anderson,
Yes.
and Glenn Drummond.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. So that's exciting. Next order of business is ordinance 3, series of 2023, an ordinance of the Town Council, Town of Basalt, amending Chapter 6, Article 5 of the Basalt Municipal Code to update statutory preferences in the article to change application requirements and to change public hearing procedure for licensing renewal. Does that say the whole thing?
Yeah, I think you got it. Yes, this is the exciting part of the agenda. This is the first of two ordinances
to just kind of do some cleanup and updating on some of our licensing provisions of the code. This is for marijuana licensing. And this section of the code was written in 2014 when licensing of, when marijuana first was approved in Colorado. And so there's just some things that have evolved over time. And so took a look at this code section and made a handful of changes, really kind of in 4 areas. And the first is just clean up and miscellaneous updates that I won't really get into the detail of. You can see them in the ordinance. The second area of change is, unlike liquor licenses where there are automatic renewals on an annual basis, unless there is an issue, then it would come to town council. For marijuana licensing, it would come to town council for a public hearing every year for renewal. And experience has shown us that that's just really not necessary with the town's 2 licenses, and kind of the practice has evolved to have that renewal mirror liquor licensing. And so there's a change to provide administrative authority for Pam as town clerk to administratively renew those marijuana licenses unless there is an issue of cause, which is a defined term in the MED rules, in which case it would then get brought up to town council for review. And so again, kind of paralleling that liquor review process. The third change is that there's an existing provision that requires that one of the owners of the licenses effectively has to be local. And there are some kind of 2 areas of concern with that. I guess let me back up. I think the intent of that provision was really to ensure that there were people locally available to respond to any issues that might arise in the operation of the marijuana business, and to just have that local agent presence. And so through that existing requirement, it was, well, we want to have somebody who's a local owner. Well, our experience has been someone might be a local owner, but not really be local and involved in the business. The second issue with that is there's a concern of mine that it might violate the Dormant Commerce Clause and have some constitutional question to it. There's some cases going on the national level related to short-term rental licenses that are where there's some rulings that might place a little bit of a cloud over this provision. And so that's one of the changes, is to instead of require that one of the owners of the licenses be local, that there be a local manager, and that manager has to live in certain areas and be responsive and provide updated contact information. And there's more detail in that code provision change. So that's the third area. And then the fourth was there's an existing spacing requirement from the town's main parks, and one park that was not in that list is Triangle Park. And so that's an addition. Now there's a marijuana license that's going to be a retail store that'll be located at the Willits General Store there, which I'm not sure if that's within the 200 feet or not.
It's like 220.
Okay, so in any event, this would kind of protect those retail spaces around the park. And so Triangle Park's added to the list of parks for spacing requirements. So those are the 4 areas of changes, and if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we can approve on first reading and set a public hearing and second reading for our next meeting.
So this is just going to mirror the alcohol licenses. So like if you're just renewing, it'll be administrative, but if there's a change, it's transferring to another owner, all that stuff, then it'll come to us.
Yeah, the transfer provisions will remain the same. This is really businesses in operation. We're not having any issues. We just administratively renew year to year. If we're going to change a location or do a transfer of license to a new ownership group, then that would still come to you guys.
And the concern with it not being a local owner and rather a local representative is at the federal level? Because isn't this still technically illegal at the federal level?
So there's a provision in the, the issue with it is that it regulates interstate commerce in a potentially discriminatory way. If there's a regulation that says, well, only someone that is local gets to own this, that discriminates against someone that is out of state from potentially owning it. And so that is, there's the Commerce Clause under the Constitution, and so that creates an issue, with what's called the Dormant Commerce Clause, in that it's not a direct imposition on interstate commerce. It has that effect by only requiring that local owner. And so the question then becomes, is there a non-discriminatory way in which to achieve this policy outcome? And in this case, it would be through requiring that local agent instead of a local ownership requirement.
The local agent could simply be a general manager.
Could be, yeah.
And we're seeing some people, some court cases related to short-term rentals with the dormant commerce clause right now?
Exactly,
Okay.
yep. And so there's been some discussion about this kind of going on around the state, I think, these local ownership requirements, where just some ongoing concern as time moves forward.
Okay. Questions, comments? This is a first reading.
Mayor, I move the town council approve ordinance number 3, series of 2023 on first reading and set public hearing and second reading for March 14th, 2023.
Did we have a public hearing?
Actually, this is a notice public hearing, so,
We gotta open it for that.
suggest.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Great.
So we'll,
Open
this
up.
was noticed as a public hearing, so we'll need to open the public hearing and see if there's anyone here for public comment.
Okay, so
Motion on the floor.
being a public
I'll
hearing,
remove my motion.
we will open the floor for comments for anyone that would like to call in virtually, or if anyone in the audience would like to address council on this ordinance. Hearing none, I think we can turn to a motion.
Mayor, I move the town council approve ordinance number 3, series of 2023 on first reading and set the public hearing and second reading for March 14th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Pam, please call the roll.
Absolutely. Let's begin with Dieter Schindler,
Yes.
David Knight,
Yes.
Angela Anderson,
Yes.
Glenn Drummond,
Yes.
Elise Hoddle,
Yes.
Ryan Slack,
Yes.
and Bill King.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you guys for that. We have number 4 coming up, series of 2023. It's an ordinance of the town council, town of Basalt, Colorado, amending chapter 8, article 2 of the Basalt Municipal Code to update statutory references in the article and authorize the local licensing authority to issue alcohol beverage festival permits. It's a great idea.
Yes. So this is an ordinance to provide some updates to the liquor code, and there are really 2 changes. One is that cleanup miscellaneous changes category. The existing liquor code has, for example, references to state statute where the state liquor code used to live, and now it lives under a different section of the state statute. So we kind of updated all those cross-references. There's some provisions related to 3.2 liquor licenses, which are now obsolete, so we kind of cleaned those things up. So just kind of miscellaneous cleanup things. And then the second area of change is last year, the state legislature authorized a new class of liquor license called a festival permit. And this is, there already exists under the law. There are permits for wine festivals, but there were not permits that would allow for beer and liquor festivals. And so we may all have been to some kind of beer festival in the past, but the type of license that lived under was a special event liquor license. And there, you need a nonprofit to be a sponsor to pull that license and be eligible for it. The new festival permit allows for a for-profit business to have a festival, have a beer festival with stands where, you know, kind of like in my mind, when I think of what does this festival permit look like, it's kind of like an Oktoberfest style event, might be out on a town street closed, and it creates the ability to have kind of those licensed premises over that festival area. It could also be on private property. So this is a class of license that's now authorized on the state level. The purpose of this, of including it in our code, is to provide more local control over issuing this type of license. So right now, theoretically, someone could get a license from the state for this, for a festival permit. This requires that they also get a local license. Now, the example I just gave, you know, Oktoberfest style on a street, that would already require a separate approval from the town to close the street through a special activity permit from the planning department, which would go through a review process and so forth. That's still gonna be required, but now it allows for that liquor component to, liquor licensing component to go along with it. Within that festival permit section, there are a few other things that we included just to, again, ensure that there'd be local control and kind of better ability to see if festival permits were to happen here, that we can make them happen. And so those are the changes. If you have any questions, please let me know. It does appear that this was noticed as a public hearing as well, so I'd recommend that there be public comment taken if there is anyone here to make comment, and then otherwise approve the ordinance and set and continue the public hearing for second reading on March 14th.
So we have to assemble as a liquor licensing authority to issue a festival permit, or can it be done kind of administratively and have the chairman sign off, or how, what would actually be the process?
You know, I don't know if we put that in there.
I think we addressed that,
Yeah.
actually.
I guess as a new class of, let me see how we did that.
It says by the town clerk or the local licensing authority.
Yeah.
So Pam would have authority
So-
to refer it if it was a
Yeah.
big thing or something?
We drafted this a while back, but I think the idea would be to provide some administrative authority to issue it, but then if it was a decision that might require the input of town council, the ability to refer it to town council.
Then it could be a consent agenda item.
Sure.
Does the request have to come from somebody who is already in possession of a liquor license? I don't know why it kind of got that you had to have a liquor license and you could apply for the festival off premise.
I don't think, I'm not sure on that. I'd have to look at the state statute on that to confirm.
Okay, so this is, we doing a public hearing tonight?
Yep.
We are. So, in that ordinance number 4, series of 23, it's first reading. We'll open the floor for public comment. You may call in. I see no callers listed. Anyone in the audience want to address council? I don't think so. So, be happy to entertain a motion for ordinance number 4 of 23.
Mayor, I move that town council approve ordinance number 4, series of 2023 on first reading and set the public hearing and second reading for March 14th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Pam?
Okay, let's begin with Elise Hoddle,
Yes.
Ryan Slack,
Yes.
Bill Kane,
Yes.
Dieter Schindler,
Yes.
David Knight,
Yes.
Angela Anderson,
Yes.
and Glenn Drummond.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one more order of business tonight. We've got an executive session for town council enter executive session to discuss personal matters in accordance with CRS 24-6-402, parent 4 and F, more specifically, town manager review. So,
You gotta do your spiel.
if you're not here for
Once
that
we go
business
into
item,
the-
we
Yeah,
graciously
I'll
ask you
just add
to.
this. Mr. Mayor, I'll just add really quickly, before we enter executive session, just for the record, that once we go into executive session, the town council will not be taking any further action. Once it comes out, and the meeting will just be adjourned. So
Mayor,
now we just need that motion.
Mayor, I move that the town council enter executive session to discuss personal matters in accordance with CRS 24-6-4024F, more specifically, town manager review.
Second.
Okay, moved and second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay.